The third clip is, again, a very passionate man, Jacques Brel.
Yeah.
One of the farewell concerts he gave in Olympia in 1966. Let's have a look first. I found it so interesting when you asked for this clip. Was he somebody who also influenced you in that period?
Well, I only found out about Jacques Brel really in the early 80s. As I said, I formed a band 77, 78. Yeah. And we started touring, seriously touring, around 1980, around Europe. It was a real education for me because I started like going, oh, there's other music here. There's chanson, there is the music of, in Germany, I got really educated and found out what Brecht and Weill were doing. And then it was in France, where the Prunes were very popular. A journalist had a party for us one night, and he showed me this video of Jacques Brel. And I'd heard of Jacques Brel because Bowie had done a cover version of My Death. One or two of his songs were big hits. Seasons in the Sun was covered by Terry Jacks, I think, in the early 70s. But I had not seen or really heard him sing himself, and they showed me this video, and it was like that feeling when I saw Bowie for the first time, or when I saw Ian Curtis on the TV. It was like, I understand totally, but this made even more sense. The language was foreign to me. I had very little French, but here you were getting true physical expression and theatre all in one, and it wasn't as manicured as Bowie. It was sweaty. He spat, and you know, the Irish probably have a bit of that sort of sweat about them. They're a bit like the Flemish, you know. They drink, they eat, they curse, they fart.
Yeah.
And here was this man singing these songs that weren't just his anger. There was also great poetry and poignancy where he would write about children or old people. I mean, no one really talks about old people, but he was like this broad spectrum. And this song, En Suivant, which I ended up covering and doing a version of on my own solo album, but he just became this sort of touchstone for me. Probably it gave me the license to physically become more natural and spontaneous on stage.
But he's also a very good actor. How would you describe the distinction you made? Because there's a lot of people acting on stage, and he also acts, but it feels real.
I think there's a craft where you know how to express something or move a certain way. But if you watch that performance, he's in the music. He's there. He's going through it. So yes, there's an element of actor, but there's an element of him just becoming what the sentiment of what he's trying to express.
And before you saw these things, before that, this wasn't an option for you yet.
It was an option. In the Virgin Prunes, we would use visuals and performance, very much so, but more in a ambiguous, almost performance art way. I remember seeing, as a very young boy, about 16, with Guggy, who was another Virgin Prune, walking by a place in Dublin called the Project Arts Centre, and walking in, and there was a naked man, painted white, crawling across all this clay. And we just stood there for ages going, what's he doing? And afterwards, we spoke to him, and he says, I'm a performance artist. I'm crawling across the universe. And we were going, what the fuck is that? And then I went, I could do that. So I would use any tool to express whatever I wanted to do. And the Virgin Prunes were very, very spontaneous in that, like, if people had seen us in the early 80s, we would actually, at the end of a show, take off our clothes and paint our bodies and improvise for 40 minutes to white noise. So there was that sort of expression, but it was in a very ambiguous and inarticulate thing, just trying to get across something. But when I saw Brel, it was more an influence towards me post-Virgin Prunes, where you could actually articulate, it says, I want to get across this sentiment. So it became, yeah, it was like the actor becomes a bit more, what's the word? A bit more articulate. But still having that looseness, you know? Like
because it's not like it's not a plastic act, you know, not at all, you know.
No,
the opposite. The next clip, I don't think I have to introduce that. That's 1969, and the first man on the moon.